welcome back. It's Breakfast Daily here. Use the hashtag Breakfast Daily on social media streams, and the WhatsApp line is 0550585832. We do want to hear from you regarding the conversations that we're having. What are your thoughts? What's the conversation that's going on around you in your community where you are regarding the conversations that we're having? Now I want to say good morning to Apioko. Apioko, how are you?
I'm well, bonjour.
Yeah, bonjour. Ça va?
Ça va très bien, merci, et toi?
Ça va. We are, well, yeah, I mean, it's all you need to do is to buy bread in the shop, that's all. And you're okay. Once you can buy your bread, you're good. Yeah, but how are you feeling after CBO? I mean, are you rested? Are you getting there?
Rested, no, but funnily enough, rejuvenated.
Okay.
You know, we weren't competing, but there was a lot of movement.
Yeah, no,
getting,
the work we had to
down,
do. Yeah.
You know, so I feel like I had a good cardio workout.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah,
it's quite refreshing.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So this morning I was just thinking about the proverb that we read this morning, and it said that a debt between children, that are born to the same mother, is usually paid for in a very clever way. And it's a Kenyan proverb. Just think about the fact that a lot of the times, and for me, the context of Ghanaians being Ghanaians, we're under the same mother, Ghana, right? We need to be smarter about figuring out our differences.
Oh yeah.
So that, because there's no need for us as Ghanaians to look at each other and start, the bickering, the fighting, the wars. Of course, children squabble among themselves, but there has to be a way that we can understand that our mother is one.
Exactly.
And that's Ghana,
Exactly.
And,
but beyond that, I'm even looking at it. There are the wars and those ones, but things like corruption.
Yeah.
Trying to outwit and outsmart each other. And just forgetting or neglecting the fact that we have the same mother, we're of the same family, we're on the same team.
Yeah.
And so if it's good for me, it's good for you. And so I don't need to do things to your detriment. And we really need to start thinking about that. A lot of Ghanaians, a lot of us are very selfish.
Extremely.
Think about ourselves and not the next person. Not the next generation.
You
either.
always see it in traffic.
Yeah, oh yes.
And especially when the traffic lights
example.
go off, right? Everybody wants to be the one that gets ahead. Meanwhile, you find it very interesting in other societies, people saying that, oh no, you go here first.
You can even spend 2 minutes deciding who should go.
Yeah, but rather in our side, it's like, as the person is arriving there first, you want to rush quickly and get ahead of them so that you will get in there first. I mean,
exactly.
We need to do better as Ghanaians. It's very important.
But speaking of Ghanaians and ourselves and looking out for each other, our issues, up in the north, in Bimbilla to be precise, there's something going on there. When we think of some of the most basic commodities that we consume, not even as Ghanaians or as human beings globally, you think about salt.
Yes.
In fact, salt pops up in every aspect of our lives, even in our religious life. You talk about the salt of the earth, all that. So salt is supposed to be something that we all have access to, that we all benefit from, that we're all blessed by. But up in Bimbilla, it looks as though the prices have become so unbearable for people that, they're complaining, they're lamenting, and it's painful because we're not talking about something that's expensive, something that you have to take your entire savings, your entire salary to go and buy. Salt. Yeah. Salt that at least you cry if you don't have money, at least it can make your food, your shito taste nice. Yeah. Just that. Yeah. So we have a report from our colleague Mohammed Amin Alabira. He is, of course, our northern regional correspondent for Citi News. Let's take a look at that report, and when we come back, we get right into this conversation.
In recent times, prices of goods and services has been increasing, a situation many consumers across the length and breadth of the country have bemoaned. Thursday is Bimbilla Market Day, and Citi News decided to go find out the prices of salt following complaints from consumers. A woman who sells salt at the Bimbilla market tells Citi News a bowl of salt currently sells at 25 Ghana cedis. She said the price at which they buy salt at the depot has increased. Thus, the increase in the retail price.
It is able to stop bringing. Yaya Sanka Benyan Chase put any hope. It is a minoma you what is saying. Yamiadum will be the bin a work keep what to. And a Yamiadum. The copy is what your mammy is only born enough for. Some water kit to away what the mammy 150 cities. Yet a petrol boyading. Carney Jimmy, 10 cities. Bottle a 100 bottle a 150 pesos. Over to your statistic 50 pesos. Statistic 50 pesos costs one. Omo meye juma beje back 2 cities. Trata ebeji 2 cities.
Citi News also interacted with some retailers who say customers now complain about the reduced size and the price. Food sellers who constantly buy salt say because of the increase in prices of goods, they have also decreased the quantity of the food served, but customers are complaining.
Mara kabli rejamda katbami li laben yarama sharama kabang mara ben wotrai darla ko bgona pihnu amara tu yina ko bgona pishinano pompon ko sita za ta talma ko sita na pihnu kon ko bil fon wa za wa an lama
we're buying it that
Come again?
we are buying it 2 cities.
So, and previously, how much were you buying?
1 cities.
Okay. So,
It's 20 cities.
a bowl of salt now is 20 cedis. Housewives also shared their frustration with Citi News, saying things are now hard for them just to prepare a meal for their family.
The way the price of salt it has increased too much, and we don't expect it to be increased like that. In fact, if they could see to it and decrease it, it will be better. Especially charcoal. Charcoal, one sack 1 million. And you buy the 1 million and go for granny, they will measure it. We don't know whether that rules is from the VRA or is from the DC or from the MPs or from our community. We don't know. If we can come together and decrease the price of the granny meal, one container is 3 cities. Imagine if you have 3 or 4 children, then you measure 5 or 6. Go and grind. How much will you get?
Fulani herdsmen also use salt for their cattle. They say the recent increase in price of salt is affecting them.
The shilling that I have present, but my currently, we are doing 150 Ghana cedis. Wahala zaka and Domi, Yelma Maltan fan. You made am fan, madam, my ladder, my bad, I'm fan. The Milmazan did am fan, my Madam Lamparish and Madam
And there you have it, a report from Bimbilla up in the northern parts of Ghana from our colleague Mohammed Amina Alabir, and of course he's our northern regional correspondent. David, salt.
Yeah.
Salt.
It's a tough situation.
And you see, a lot of the time we take things for granted and we think that the things that seem mundane, normal, unimportant, they will never affect us in grave or big ways. We're talking about a situation where now salt is so expensive up there that people who sell food are reducing the amount of food.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, salt is like you can't necessarily reduce the amount of salt you put in the food because the taste and the ratios, the proportions to whatever other ingredients are in there give you the taste you want, right? So the decision will be to reduce the amount of food, but then still charge the same. Because if you also increase the price, customers will complain. But they are complaining anyway because what they could use 2 cities or 1 city to buy, they can't get that amount anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a very serious problem. And you see the cattle farmers. We eat a lot of beef, red meat in this country. You know, when you have your palm nut soup, your mewunu, as the Gans would say, or your abenkwine, as the Akans would say, you know, and there's nice meat in there, there's kotoje and all these things. You know, you have that. Now, when you think about these things and how cattle up north, the way they are taken care of is affected, because now it's also difficult for the farmers to have access to salt for them.
Yes.
That's something you don't even think about.
Yeah.
But then when beef becomes more expensive down south or in the middle belt of the country,
we don't get the
understand.
correlation. Yeah.
And that's how something so basic can affect us in such a huge way. So we really need to start thinking about these things. I remember, as far as salt production, I don't know exactly what the cause of the rise in price is, and maybe we can speak to Alabira some more to see if he's been able to speak to any authorities about it. But I remember, as far as salt production is concerned, we can talk about Songo, and in the Adan area. You can talk Palm Bros. At a point became a huge conversation because of the encroachment and how that was being affected. We have Oyibi, the Oyibi Lagoon was producing salt at a point. There are all these different points, there are others. But I remember sometime in 2009, there was a conversation about the fact that Ghana could easily become an exporter of salt. And we were looking at Nigeria, because at the time, I don't know if it's still the same, but at the time, Nigeria was importing most of their salt from Brazil. And so we were looking at how we could tap into the different parts of the salt production chain in Ghana and export to Nigeria. And now here we are, we're talking about a rise in the price of salt. And the way we do most of our salt production, the reason why I'm going down this route is because a lot of our salt production is not capital intensive. We use a lot of the evaporation method, pick from a salt water body. We let the sun, natural sunlight, evaporate the water, the moisture, and the salt is there, crystallization, right? So if that's the case, what is it transporting the salt that's making it more expensive? Is it that now the salt miners or the salt producers are charging more, because they feel their work is important and we need to eat, so the price is going up from there? Is it that there's less production? Because don't forget, lots of our water bodies are also I just mentioned Palm Bros. The encroachment there, something that we haven't really talked about and explored. But what it has done to our salt production in that space, and even in terms of flooding and all that in that area, we haven't spoken much about it. Could that and maybe similar things happening in other places have affected production, so that now demand is exceeding supply and prices are going up, basic economics? So I'm really curious to know what the cause is. But bottom line, on a morning like this, you shouldn't be talking about
It's not salt that should be the issue.
Why?
That's the thing.
Salt.
It's not salt that should be the issue. But unfortunately, it's like everything else that we oversee in this country. We are very, we function by happenstance, and it's like we believe that things should happen in our favor. By some stroke of luck, everything should go well, and so on. So for me, it's a very unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in. And we're never deliberate about anything, We say, oh, hopefully Ghana will become, a net exporter of salt.
Hopefully.
And how's that going to happen? Do you see? We don't put anything in place.
Exactly.
Nothing is put in place to make it happen, to drive that agenda. I don't understand. Our colleague who brought us the report has joined us on the line, Alhaji Muhammad Aminu Alabira. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing? How are you doing, Alhaji?
By His grace, Alhamdulillah, I am doing very well.
That's good. Thank you for joining us this morning. So,
thank you.
This issue in Bimbilla is very disturbing. on different levels. But what is the general feeling as the cause of this increase in prices? What do people generally feel is the reason for the rise in prices?
Thank you. Salt is not mined in this part of the country. So normally it is imported or it is brought from wherever it is mined to this place. So, and actually, what I had the interaction with the sellers, the retailers, those who bring it in here, they told me that it all has to do with the transport fares that they usually, they are now paid as a result of the increment in the fuel prices. So they are also attributing it to the fuel price. That the cars that they normally load to bring it here, they have also increased their fares. And again, at the point where they are buying it from, they said because this is the rainy season, salt is not mined at this time.
Right.
So so it's now difficult to get it there, except those who had it during the dry season and have stored it till now. So when they go there, they also find it difficult buying. And the bottom line was just that the fuel prices is affecting everything here.
Okay, so it's a combination of things, but basically fuel prices. So like you just outlined, we're dealing with that nationwide. In fact, globally, fuel prices have gone up. And so those who transport the salt from the production sites in the south to Bimbilla in the north, they are increasing their transportation fares for obvious reasons because of the fuel costs. And that is, in turn, pushing the price up for those who sell it to the community, right?
Yes.
Okay, but it's
actually,
a huge...
I got attracted to this thing because it was in the night that I was there when women were complaining that now everything has increased. People thought that they used to buy a bowl of salt for 5 cedis, now it's sold at 30 cedis and things. I said, hey, salt, why? Salt is the commonest thing that in every house, everybody has it there.
Exactly.
So why? they said no, this time they don't understand. So I said no, then I'll take interest in this. So on the Bimbilla market day, I decided to go to town to find out. And madam, a bag, there is this blue bag, small bag.
Yes.
It is sold at now. Yesterday in the evening when I was preparing for this, they told me that now it's now 200 Ghana cedis.
Wow.
The time I was filing the report, it was 150, 180. That was what the woman told. But yesterday in the night, now it is sold at 200 cedis.
200 Ghana cedis.
Yes. And what women were also telling me, I mean housewives were also telling me was that now it is difficult. They used to buy salt for 50 pesos, which will take them at least for a week. But now, 2 cedis. And so it's now very difficult for them.
Problem.
They said putting food on the table for their families is something difficult for them. Yeah.
So, Alabira, apart from salt, are you seeing any other general increments in other common household, maybe staple foods or things that we, in the community, people tend to use very often?
Yes. It was not only food, salt, that was increased. Yesterday, actually, I also had interaction with the school feeding secretary.
Okay.
And they told me how the thing is affecting them. They gave me a list of things that now they find it difficult to buy. Even onions, a lot is affecting them now. Onion sales has increased.
So it means that if you could have prepared a meal for, let's say, a family of 5 with maybe 20 Ghana cedis, now people are going to spend something around the region of 80 or 100 Ghana cedis if we're going by the prices.
They said for 3 months, it happened within 3 months now.
Within 3 months.
3 months, 3 months, they don't understand.
So it's obvious that between the time when we're looking at the initial price and now, their income most definitely has not increased.
Sure.
This is
the Fulani people that I also spoke to in the news, they use it for the cattle.
Yeah.
What happens is that they buy it in bulk and they mix it with the food that they normally give to them. So, unlike housewife, who would normally say buy, now that it's 30 to 30 a bowl, maybe a housewife would buy that, and it will take her maybe for a month or so. But for the cattle owners, almost every time they buy it. And actually, there were those among the complainants of the high prices also. So it's not easy.
So I don't know, have you heard any conversations? At some point in this country, about, let's say, 20 years ago or so, we were on a strong campaign to get people to eat or to purchase iodized salt, iodated salt, because of goiter and that kind of thing, right? And I'm wondering, do you see this, affecting that and undoing all the progress that we've made in that region so far? Are people going to start looking for alternatives that are less nutritious as far as salt and other things are concerned?
Yes, that is the issue. Actually, it is here to the people use the powder salt. That is the ideal one.
Yes.
They use that one, but they also say no. That one too. They showed me a sack. That small sack. The price too has also gone up. So in fact, everything is something else.
So, I mean, how are people, I know people are complaining, they are coping, but really, how are people feeling? Is there a feeling of hopelessness? Do people feel like things will get better? How are people really dealing with the issue psychologically?
Yes, psychologically, yes, they are feeling very bad. But others, what women were telling me was that, in fact, if their husband could know, sometimes on market days, husbands give their wives market money and things. So they were also asking for increment in that regard. So that husband should, add up something to the money that they normally give them.
And I'm sure that will also be a problem because the money is not necessarily coming.
Exactly. Where are they also getting the money to? It's seriously a challenge here. And here, this time is the yam season. And if I tell you, if you come to Bimbilla and you want to buy a tuber of yam, you run away.
How much is a tuber of yam going for averagely at the moment?
Yes, currently 3 tubers of yam is sold for 20 cedis in Bimbilla. 3 tubers of
in
yam.
In Bimbilla of all places.
What did it used to be? What did it used to be?
Three yams at this time. This is the season of yam.
Yeah.
3 yams, 5 cedis, you could get it.
Wow.
5 cedis, you could get 3 tubers of yam for 5 cedis in Bimbilla around this time.
Because there's a lot of yam farming around the Bimbilla area, right?
Yam is the commonest commodity in Bimbilla. Everybody, farmers, every farmer farms yam in Bimbilla. So around this time, everywhere, fufu is being founded everywhere in every house. But buying the yam is not easy, especially for those of us who doesn't go to farm.
All right.
Okay.
Alaji.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So we'll be keeping an eye on the situation, and of course, I know if you have any updates, you'll let us know as well. So that was our colleague Alhaji Mohammed Amin Alabira, our Northern Regional Correspondent, speaking about the increase in salt and really in everything else in Bimbilla. And just to recap, we were wondering what the cause of the increment is, and he says, look, which we know, salt is mined or produced largely in the south. Because again, we've already talked about how we tend to produce our salts. We use the evaporation method. So take the some water from a salt water body. Yeah. Then we evaporate the moisture, the water from it, and then it crystallizes to become salt. And then from there, we take it through whatever process. If you have to iodize it, put, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then, because the production sites are down south, it needs to be transported, the salt needs to be transported to other parts of the country, and in this case, particularly to the northern parts.
Yeah.
Now, fuel prices have gone up.
Yeah.
We've been crying this cry.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole year has been about fuel prices and what it's done to us.
Yeah.
So those who transport the salt from one point to another have increased their prices because they say, look, we're also spending more on fuel now. Yeah. We just can't bear it anymore. And then because the transportation has gone up, those who actually, who are the middlemen, the merchants who actually buy the salt and bring it to the north or take it to the north, they too have said, okay, we are paying more for transportation now because the transportation officers are charging us more because fuel has gone up. So since we are paying more for transportation, we have to transfer that cost to our customers. And so now when you're going to buy salt, you pay more. And I was doing a quick calculation. You said one of the mini bags of salt was 30 cedis before. Yeah. I don't know the exact mass, but 30 cedis. Now it's going for 100 cedis. Yeah. That's a 333% increase. Yeah. And then you have a bigger bag, which was going for 70 cedis, and it's now 180 cedis. That's about 257% in just 3 months.
No, it's outrageous. And these are some of the things.
But meanwhile, your salary hasn't increased by 0.0%.
At all. And so a lot of the times, these are the things that create quiet disaffection for leadership of any community in any country. Because it's almost like our life source is being squeezed out of us. And many Ghanaians uphold virtues of hard work and don't steal and all these things. And so it's like, how do we get by?
Exactly.
How do we get by?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But we have a lady on the line. Her name is Fatima Al-Hassan. She's a salt retailer up in Bimbilla. Let's speak to her and also get her perspective. Fatima, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
How are you doing, my sister?
I'm fine by the grace of God.
Good. So we are hearing a lot about the prices of salt in Bimbilla and how it's affecting your livelihood there. Can you tell us what it's been like for you as a retailer of salt?
Yes, this time around we did not find things easy. Even you, the seller, how to get the salt to sources out is not easy at all. For 3 weeks now, we have people. We don't even have a single bag to source out, and the pricing is very high. The 25 kilograms, we were selling it 30 Ghana cedis, but now it's almost 150 Ghana cedis.
Oh, it's even gone up to 150.
Yes, from 30 Ghana cedis to 150 Ghana cedis, and you can't even get it to buy sell.
Wow.
So they will tell that it's shortage. So we don't know how come.
Fatima, where do you normally get your salt from?
From Ada.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you buy directly from Ada or you buy from someone who brings it to Bimbilla?
We are buying from Ada.
Okay.
So that they will load it to Bimbilla here.
Okay. So you usually call the producers
supplier.
or the supplier in Ada, and then they will now transport it to you.
Yes.
And you are not even getting it from the suppliers.
Almost 3 weeks now, no salt in Bimbilla town.
Wow. So how is that affecting your business? And you as a do you have children? Are you married? How is it for you?
Oh, it's not easy at all. I have 4 children. It's not easy because it's through the salt that I will sell and I'll get something to give them their school feeding money. But here's the case. Where is the salt coming to source out so that I'll get money to feed my children? And the economy is very high. It's not easy at all. It's not easy. Now, if you go to the market, they are carrying salt 5 Ghana cedis. And that 5 Ghana cedis, you only use it up to it.
So Fatima, now that salt is not available and you are struggling to find it, are you considering another business or selling something else? Have you thought about it? How are you, trying to cope with the situation?
For now, I have nothing to do because the money that I was using for my business, I've sent it to the other people. Yet I haven't received my goods. So there's no money with me here. So I'm just stranded. I don't know what to do again.
And so also when it comes to the issue of salt in food preparation, now if people can't get salt, what are they?
For correcting there, people know that salt is everything. If you cook with salt, you can't take the food. So for salt there, we can't do anything with that salt. I think salt is just the main ingredient in our food. So now we are pleading. And the other people, look, they're also complaining that they have divided the river into two, that they have sold half part and you. So now they don't have full control about the salt again. And especially this rainy season. Previously, rainy season, there was always shortage of salt. But this year, yes, it's too much.
It's too much.
Too much.
All right.
Okay. Fatima, thank you. Thank you so much. We'll keep an eye on the situation. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So that was Fatima Hassan. She's a salt retailer in Bimbilla. David, again, how things
are
affect.
Connected.
So
everything's connected.
She is a retailer.
Yeah.
I was even thinking, okay, maybe there's a middleman or a middlewoman. But she actually sends her money. And of course, that's possible now. We've got mobile money and all of that. Yeah. So she sends her money to the producers in Adan. But Adan says, we don't have salt to send to you.
Yeah.
And Adan is complaining that parts of the lands on which they produce or mine their salt have been sold.
Yeah.
And so because of that, even the mass that they would have, it's not there. And then raining season, we've already mentioned that the process of salt production involves sunlight, at least at the basic level, the way we do it in our communities, right? So if it's raining day in, day out, there's no sunlight, you don't have the heat
to evaporate
the water to get the salt in the first place. So it's a double whammy.
Yeah.
And I really...
And I think we also underestimate the nutritional value of salt.
Oh, yes.
So when you see what is referred to as a mineral lick or salt lick.
Salt lick.
What the herdsmen do is to mix salt in the cattle food, but really the way to do it, yes, exactly, it's not for taste.
Not for the cattle.
It's not for taste for the cattle. The way it's usually done in other places, that you have a block of salt and you put it in the middle of their kraal or whatever, and then they go and lick it. And there are minerals in there that is for the health of the cattle,
which in turn is health for us when we eat it.
There's sodium, which is the main one. Then there's potassium, there's calcium, there's iodine, there's different things. There's iron, and all these things are in there, and it's for the health of the cattle. So if the cattle are not getting what they need, then you're having malnourished cattle that are now feeding human beings. And so you've gone to buy your meat if you can afford it, but the meat is not as nutritious as it used to be.
Exactly.
But we don't get it. It's all linked. And it's linked to what's happening in Ada.
And if you're not careful, even the value of the cattle will drop. If it gets that bad, the value of the cattle may drop.
Yeah.
And that in turn affects the income and the livelihood
for the cattle farmers.
of the cattle farmer.
Yeah.
So it's a huge circle, myriad of things going on, and we should be worried.
No, we should
be worried.
Yeah.
But we have on the line a cattle farmer. His name is Abdul Mumin Osman. Good morning, Abdul.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Good. We are hearing about the struggles that you are having in Bimbilla with the price of salt and how it's affecting you as a farmer. So we just want you to share your experience with us. In the last few months, how have the prices of salt affected your cattle farming? What challenges has it created for you, and how are you coping with the situation?
Good morning to you and good morning to your charity listeners. For the salt issue, it's something that has really affected our animal production. It has increased our cost of production. For instance, you might have budgeted for salt, let's say 1,000 Ghana cedis for the whole year.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you're buying a bag, 25 kilos, which is 180 Ghana cedis. Just 25 kilos. In which January, February, March, April, we're buying it at 25 Ghana cedis.
Wow.
So you can imagine the sharp increase in the price. And when you ask, they said, first, they were complaining of the transport fare.
Okay.
We realized it was normal. But for the past 2 months, it's too much. It's unbearable. When you have 100 animals, at least 2 bags for 2 weeks.
So two bags for 3 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. 2 bags for 2 weeks. So that for 3 weeks.
In a month, you're spending not less than 600 Ghana cedis. Just for salt, not medication.
When before you could budget 1,000 Ghana for the whole year.
100 Ghana cedis could have been okay for the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But we don't even know where the whole thing is coming from. The woman complained that when they go to Ada, they don't get salt. Yes, we know. Rainy season, we do have a scarcity of salt. But the prices did not increase so sharp.
So, I mean, I'm sure there are some farmers, some of you who don't even have the money to buy the salt at this price. You don't even have it. So how are you going about your farming? How is it affecting your farming activities with your cattle?
We have been compelled to just manage small, just give them 1 bag of the whole month.
So it's affecting the nutrition of the cattle.
The cattle. And this is the time that they even need more salt because the grasses have matured. And when you give them salt, it makes them, it builds their immune system. It boosts their immune system. And it makes them to feed well. But this is the time that the salt is also a scarcity. We don't even have it in the right now. We don't even have it. That's why I went to Madam Party. She doesn't have. She has also sent money. They haven't received the goods yet.
Wow. Okay. Osman, thank you. Thank you very much. And
You're
I mean, we'll keep an eye on the situation and, thank you so much. So we're speaking to Osman. He is a cattle farmer and you've heard his frustrations. They are compelled to ration the salt for the cattle. And he says this is the time that they even need the salt more.
Yeah.
And so it's affecting the nutrition of the cattle.
Yeah.
And again, that is what will happen.
Yeah.
That is what will happen.
Yeah, and you see, so when a nation chooses not to be serious about productivity, and everything comes down to importation. And of course, you know that importation, it's the preserve of a few who are more wealthy within the society.
Of course.
So it means that then we are, look, any nation that refuses to produce, this is a trouble. And look, this is a big problem that is looming because the rainy season, this is the end of year rainy season. It's just, we are the front part of it.
Exactly. We are expecting
going
these
all
rains to go
the
all
way
the
to the end of October, early November.
In fact, the National Meteorological Service says we should expect it until November.
Yeah. So if you think about it, happy.
No, it's a serious issue. And we shouldn't think, you see, let me just say that a lot of the time when we hear things in the news or we come across situations, it's easy to see it as a story.
Yeah.
It's totally.
Yeah.
It's just entertainment.
Thank you for saying
something
that.
to keep you
Thank
interested.
You for saying that. Yeah.
These are real life issues affecting real life people, affecting real life Ghanaians, real life citizens who are relying on a system, but because they were born Ghanaians.
Yeah.
And if somebody was born a Ghanaian and this is what they get for it, for something they didn't choose,
what's the value of being a Ghanaian?
Then what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
What's the value?
And why shouldn't they want to leave and go and search for greener pastures? Should they sit down, suffer, be hungry, cross their arms, fold it? What? It's ridiculous.
What's the value of being
What
Ghanaian?
is the point?
Yeah.
What is the point? And we are not, and again, we are not talking about something so huge and complicated. We're talking about salt, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
We're talking about people who are farming, not even on a massive scale.
Yeah.
People who are just doing their bit to survive, to live. I mean, you heard Fatih said she has 4 children.
Yeah.
And it's her salt business that allows her to give feeding fees, school feeding fees for her kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She sent her money to Adan, no salt.
Yeah.
It hasn't come. Her money is locked up.
And
she doesn't know what to do because she doesn't even have money to go and look for another commodity to sell in the meantime.
With the onset of the rainy season, it's not coming anytime soon.
It's not.
So that's a reality.
It's not. Yeah. Look, we need to be serious as a country.
Yeah.
Let's stop the games. We've played games enough. Let's stop the games. This is 2022.
Yeah.
The world is leaving us behind. It's not about nice speeches. It's not about standing in front of cameras on podiums and telling people that we are doing what we need to do as Ghanaians and as citizens of the world. It is ridiculous. We are dealing with human beings who, again, have no choice to be Ghanaians. They were just born Ghanaians.
Yeah.
The least we can do is make living just on a subsistence basis easy for them. It's the least we can do.
Yeah.
So, Minister of Agric, again, Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Finance Ministry, and again, Interior Ministry, because look, when people are hungry, that's a security threat.
It's a security threat. Exactly.
We are joking in this country. Those who have to be accountable to us, the people we voted for, do your job. And your job is just to make sure that Ghanaians are okay and they have food on their tables. It's as basic and as simple as that. We're not even asking you to do the big things. Yeah. Just let people have the space to eat, to live, and just to be okay. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, you heard it. I mean, I rant often on these issues. For me, it's about just being productive. If we focus on productivity, instead of this infantile cravings for imports to satisfy a few wealthy people, things will work out for the nation. Breakfast Daily will return after this break.